Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today is March 11th, and you are listening and watching the Daily AI Show live. And today we're going to be talking about the latest AI video advancements. We're going to, before we do, let's jump in. I want to make sure we mention who is here. We almost have the whole crew. We'll see if Carl jumps in, but we have Jyunmi, Robert, Andy, Eran is back, Beth, and we'll see if we get Carl. We'll see if we get a full deck, all 7 here today. Welcome back, Eran. Not to say welcome back, but we just had our daylight savings time for anybody who's watching this live, and that really does make a difference. Eran, why don't you remind people where you are in the world, and so why that's a big deal to you right now?
Yeah, Perth, Western Australia. So we are currently now 12 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time. It was 13 hours ahead of yesterday, so that means I start at 10 p.m. for the show instead of 11. That 1 hour extra makes the difference to my sleep.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So we're in the better 6 months of the year. As far as I'm concerned, it can stay like this forever. I wish they would just pass that federal law and be done with it. But that's a show topic for another day and probably has nothing to do with AI. Or maybe it does. Maybe there is some AI in there somewhere. Today, though, we want to focus on video. So here's the thing. And I think maybe this is where we should start the conversation. When it comes to AI and video, that's a broad topic, and it would be too difficult and too scatterbrained to just start jumping into tools, because you'd be like, wait, hold on, where does that fit in? So I did some preliminary research, but I think you guys are probably going to come up with some extra categories here. But here's the ones I have. Okay, we have text to video. You type in text just like you do with DALL-E, but it outputs a video of some length. We don't need to worry just yet about how much length or quality or anything like that. Okay. Then we have, I give you an image and you add motion to it, which we can say is a video, right? Again, could be 2 seconds, could be a small GIF. There's a variety of tools for that, but giving somebody an image and getting it to move and have some sort of spatial changes in there, that's another tool. Okay. Then we have some big players in there. We have Pika, which really sort of wowed people not too long ago. And then we also have Sora, which only a month ago, just about a month ago now, hit all the news waves and all that kind of stuff because of what OpenAI released with Sora. And that seems to be a little bit more elevated. Still text to video, so it fits in the first category. It just seems to be, both of them seem to be leading the category, and it's at a higher output from what we can tell. At least in Sora, we cannot currently play with it, so we cannot sit here or anybody listen to the show and say, hey, it works 50% of the time, it works 90% of the time. Oh wow, you really, really, really have to work with this before you get a good result. That part we don't know just yet. And then finally, you have what I would consider to be the talking head, which is, if I was talking to you, anybody happens to be watching this as a video right now, that would be the idea that you could animate my mouth and maybe make me move, depending on what your solutions would be or what your problem you're trying to solve for. And you could animate me and make a video out of something that might have just been a static photo that's also like animating my mouth. And so one of the leaders there is HeyGen. Then you also have, what's the other one called, Eran? Synthesia? Synthesia. So Eran's going to talk about that a little bit. Okay. So did I miss any categories based on what you guys think? Are there any extra categories for AI video?
I think that there is I can show it here in a little bit if I can pull it up, but there's an open source kind of community. I came across a TikTok of a guy playing around with a real-time image creation tool. That you can actually feed it real live video, and it can in real time modify it. It's pretty exciting. So I guess the third bucket or whatever bucket is the open source community that is doing some raw stuff. It's not quite, go to market ready or consumer ready, but it's definitely cool.
And I would say maybe as a subcategory out there is video repainting, which is essentially video to video AI layer there, where you're adjusting the video you have with some new element or things like that. If you do TikTok, you'll see a lot of their dance videos then overlaid with some sort of art style, laid over that.
Right. And I'm going to say, Go ahead.
I'm going to say one other subcategory, which is relevant for people who are making videos and wanting to expand them to broader audiences, is video dubbing, right? So the ability to take the same exact video and Eran is going to talk a little bit about this with Hey Gen, but there are a couple other players where the video is exactly the same. It's just the mouth that is modified with the language, so that the mouth looks like it's speaking the new language.
Yeah. One other thing that I
referring to
for like social media marketing, for example, or if you produce long content video, there's tools that can allow you to take a single video and chop it up into small chunks. And
that's another good category.
Yeah, like social media type stuff like your TikToks and Instagram Reels, where you can take a up and out video and make 5 or 10 or 20 little 1 minute videos. So that's a really cool technology as well. It's certainly, if it works, and it's not 100%, but if it works, it saves a huge amount of time.
Yeah. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah. So what Robert was talking about is related to how fast the AI can actually render video. And so historically, going all the way back several months, what you could get out of the text to video service was maybe after a processing time of a minute, you could get 3 seconds of video or 4 seconds of video. And even Sora, as impressive as it is, probably takes quite a bit of time to generate the video, as complex and photorealistic as it is. So you get longer form videos, they still take a long time to process. But what we really want to get, whether it's for the talking heads model or it's for text to video where you get something close to real time, it has to process faster in order to be relevant to presenting a talking head that's also powered by text coming from a generative GPT, right? So these are both generative models. One is generating images, one is generating text in response to queries, but then you're going to have a video presentation rather than just typing words out on the screen for you via Chat GPT. And so getting to the high-speed process, what Robert was referring to is somebody set up a rig that's generating images and changing them in real time, literally in real time at some number of frames per second. I forget what it was, Robert, but I saw
16.
that.
Wow.
Yeah.
16.
Yeah, it's just really amazing. And so there's this hardware advance that's happening, and then there's the coding advances that are happening that will eventually make it possible to create a video avatar of you that's as convincing as one that can be rendered over some period of time, minutes or hopefully getting down to seconds, but in real time. So you have a back and forth conversation with a very realistic representation of you that's generated in real time. Just wanted to point that.
To me, that is most baffling or most exciting is getting this in the hands of the true talent. The people that have done this for years with CGI, like the minds, just because you have the most expensive paintbrush in the world does not mean you're going to be Picasso. I know people think that they always, I know my friend would always buy the most expensive, whatever it is. He didn't become a better photographer just because he had the best camera, because the best photographers have like a pinhole camera because then you're true artists, right? So I want to see people that will take this and run with it. I want to see what they can do. That's what's exciting to me.
Okay, I want to mention a friend of mine who goes all the way back to Disney animation long ago. And this is exactly the kind of creative people who, given the right AI tools, are going to do some amazing things with them. And I can tell you that they're working on a platform that will allow full-length animation features to be produced by the creatives, but with all the power of AI. So, you're right on. We're not all going to be producers of excellent video, but there are creative people who are adopting the technologies rather than resisting it and moving forward to accomplish tremendous things for us in the future.
And look, I want to talk about that really quick because there's two sides to that. Number one, that makes me extremely excited for the people who have routinely not had the resources that they may be able to make their way into a college or university or something like that, and have access where they wouldn't have at home, but they have the creative ability. They're fantastic at what they do, creative, and they're going to be able to create these feature length videos and stuff like that. I've talked many times about my buddy Dave, who went to Ringling School of Art and Design, and in '90s he would have been there 95 to 99. He was a year before me. And he was just at the cusp of where they were switching over into computer graphics. And so he did computer animation versus traditional hand-drawn animation. Anyway, that's one side of it. Super excited to see all the people who this unlocks their potential and what they create, because I think that's good for the society. Conversely, I do worry about how many jobs this is going to disrupt, like we were talking about last week in the animation and movie making industry. And we see this obviously with the strikes and things like that, because I know my buddy Dave and his wife Jessica, who both work for Pixar and have for many, many years now, have many friends who are in modeling, lighting, all these other areas that you don't think about when you think about the next Pixar movie being made. And honestly, it's not like they're just being disrupted now. Those areas have probably been disrupted for many, many years due to things like the 3D modeler, that are getting to all of our desktops, versus Dave back in the day had to have a very, very powerful, expensive, processor on his desk in order to run that.
Yeah.
And every cubicle had a heavy duty process, in order to render live like that. So just want to bring that up because I think we talked last week about disruption in AI and work. And I think, unfortunately, AI in animation, movie making, things like that, we're going to see a huge disruption, because if AI can just handle the lighting and the rendering and the modeling and all that, and now somebody who's just a creative who has some talent, like you're saying, Robert, for animation and things like that, can just give the commands and the AI creates the final product. What does that do to everybody else in between?
And the command can just be put me in a different scenario. There's an app called Skyglass that does that, and essentially what it does, it seems to remove your background, put you in the background that you asked for, and then changes the light that reflects off you based on what's happening in the background, right? So that stuff is happening now.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we've sort of taken the first part of the show here, and we've sort of hopefully helped everybody understand. Here are the different areas that we see AI and video coming together. And I thought we had 3 or 4. It sounds like we have 5, 6, maybe even 7 different categories here. So I don't know. We can't go deep into any one particularly, because there's some cool ones out there. But is there any one particular tool, like a Kyber, or I have Leah Pix, and some other ones that are out there that you guys feel like are best in class for simply putting motion to a static image? Do you guys have any tools that you're currently using that you like for that? Is there any that are worth mentioning?
So when it comes to some functionality there, like you guys saw that demo video I sent to you today, where I took a photo of someone and added an AI voice, and it animated his lips and his head a little bit, and it looked pretty realistic. So that was done in Hagen, and it's using their photo avatar functionality. Pretty simplistic. I'm sure there are far better tools out there, but as a starting point, it's not bad. So that's what I suggest right now.
I would say overall, and we've done a review on this before, is Runway ML.
Yeah.
There's a lot of post-production video tools that they apply beyond their text to video and image to video. I would like to also highlight a new player that we'd mentioned on the previous news episode, Hyper. Hyper is poised to be a competitor for Sora. The article I read from TechCrunch said Hyper is trying to focus on the consumer market as opposed to on a larger business market there. But the big thing that I enjoy is I can try Hyper right now. Sora isn't publicly released, so there's points for that. And what I've seen so far is They cover a lot of different art styles, a lot of different examples on showing you how to convert something such as a sketch that you did in, Illustrator or Photoshop, and convert that into video and things like that. So I see a lot of potential there.
Jyunmi, because I did a quick search while you were talking because I wasn't aware of it. I think I missed that show. And I'm seeing like hyper.line, but hyperai.ai. Which one is it?
HAIPER.ai.
Yeah.
HAI.
Yeah, you're nowhere near what you thought.
Yeah.
No.
It's not hyper, it's hyper.
There it is. Okay.
It's
HAIPER.ai.
Japanese.
Okay.
So just a quick
motion, from photo to motion brush or adding motion, actually creating video out of a still photo. Technically, what's required to do that normally is that you have to basically identify in the flat 2D image the relative field of view within the field of view, what the depth of field is for each of the objects in the photo. And so there's a kind of AI that can do that. It'll take the photo. It'll then basically create a rudimentary 3D model out of the objects that are in the photo and layer them correctly in order to know which portions of the image need to be re-rendered in effect as a 3D object and move as you move the camera position or as you move the objects in the image. They have to maintain some correspondence in physical space. So there's a lot going on in the conversion of a 2D image into a 3D model in order to accomplish those. But recently I've seen a demonstration of something that's doing that without doing this intermediate step of rendering a 3D model out of the image first. It just says, and I think this is what Sora does, and this is what Hyper is doing. They're using AI, and just AI has been trained without knowing how to do a 3D model. It knows how to just do something that's representative of what the likely output should be. And this is part of that whole mystical process that AI is and deep learning networks are capable of doing. They do some things that we can't explain. And so I think that's the major advances that you're seeing as OpenAI approaches artificial general intelligence. Something like Sora emerges, an emergent property out of these deep learning networks, and Hyper is accomplishing something similar.
And I know we talk all about like we like to geek out on this stuff. There's a lot of business use cases for this kind of stuff as well as they come across. But I think there's also some like really cool, probably haven't thought about them yet, reasons in like either emergency management or just government or things like this, where I think there's probably some really cool use cases. I don't know. I can't think of all the top of my head. Where I feel like having that almost instantaneous, like you're saying, Andy, manipulation of a photo or something like that could be really, really helpful if it's happening almost in real time. Like, in other words, on a tough book out in the field somewhere or whatever. And I know a lot of times we talk about this stuff right now, but go ahead.
No, I said, think about city planning. Think about the ability to have engineers looking at a building and trying to decide where and what and how they want to do architectural renderings. I mean, that'd be a little bit scary because you're getting a little bit too into the details, but just like generic planning your bedroom and stuff, just like, I want to hot over here, I want to plan over here, or the furniture things, that's all going to already there. I used to work for a furniture company and we used to have 3D rendering, but it took hours to get it all right? I think those are great. I think it's good to kind of go into the delve into the corporate or the business application. But as you know, this is all about the Netflix game. This is going to be, Netflix is going to do, this is going to be done to Netflix what Netflix did to Blockbuster, right? So somebody said the great quote, the future of entertainment will no longer be streamed, it'll be generated. And I thought that was so insightful because you're gonna have a box on your thing that you buy on your by their TV that you buy it, and it generates content for you, and instead of streaming it through your Wi-Fi. Or I don't know, that sounds sci-fi-ish, but what do y'all think?
No, it's totally going to happen, but we have a great idea for it. So I really think Netflix, call us, because we have talked about this before. People are community. We're like a pack we're pack animals, humans are. So Brian came up with a great idea. Like we have a contest. I think so.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We have a contest on Monday. On Monday, people vote, and by Friday, the movie is made, and now we all watch it together.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? Like you have a play
that's
here,
on
Netflix.
record.
So Netflix. That's the most important thing.
By the way, I just want to quick before we move on to something else. Robert said the word delve, which now is making me question whether this whole time Robert's been an AI generated video, and we didn't know it. Because he said the key word as far as I'm concerned. He said delve, and now I'm second guessing whether my upper right square here, as I'm looking at the screen, is AI generated video.
You will never know.
I've
been posting about 100 to 300 posts a day on LinkedIn. I'm just really that prolific, in case you didn't know.
Well, speaking of AI, as Brian just said, the rendering of the movement of the beard is very impressive.
It moves right. It's just enough delayed, when you move your. Yes, it's just that's high end AI right there. Okay, most people probably cannot see this, so this isn't very helpful for most people. But go check out the video so you can see Robert's both long beard and tall hair. It's a lot going vertically, so you got to go. You can go check that out, as opposed to mine and Andy's lack of. We're the opposite of Robert when it comes to that.
I'm trying in here now. I'm going to get this little thing down here to go.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. You do keep growing it. Yeah. You're, listen, you're right. You got the retirement age. You got to get that, like the soul patch. You just got to let it keep going, and just work it out, Andy. Okay. I want to leave some time here because we've got about, 10 minutes or so. Let's talk about, maybe some tools that fall into some of these categories. Like I said, we probably don't have time to deep dive into all of these. Jyunmi, I would love for you to give us your opinion as it goes right now. I know Too Short, which makes me laugh, but TooShort.ai, great name, as well as a few others that I know we've been using internally to chop up video, because that's something like a lot of businesses I think can get value out of it. I know would you say, guys, we've struggled a bit? We've had to really sort of work and find out. And Jyunmi, you've done most of the work here, the legwork to find a solution that works for us, because we have a 30-minute show 5 days a week. We are producing a lot of content. Repurposing that onto streaming platforms, or rather onto like TikToks and things like that, is difficult for a lot of reasons. So Jyunmi, do you have any recommendations for people in that area?
So we're talking about the category of repurposing video, or specifically repurposing long form video. Now that can be done manually and has been in the past, but AI and these tools have been built to help along with that process, trying to save time. So there's been quite a few that we've tested and we've come across. There's been ones like repurpose.io. There's been Munch, Opus, and various others. Now, the ones that we kind of decided on that gave us the best results for the price has been Opus, and then for a very specific use case, Repurpose. So essentially what all of these different tools do is they'll analyze, you upload your video or your link, and they'll analyze the video, and they'll apply their algorithm to recognize what's being said, what could be considered, applicable, what's a trend, what kind of eye-catching or sound-catching, ear-catching quote or anything like that, and chunk up your long-form video. Like Brian said, we got an average about a 35 minute video each day, and so that needs to be chunked up. If you were going to do it manually, it would take you some time to run through everything, identify what the key chunk is there, and then repurpose that for social media. So if you take a tool like Opus, it'll apply all of that processing to your long form video, and then show you what it thinks it's your best score or your virality score is for your social media video. And then you go through that, and theoretically you could simply just say share, and it goes to your linked account. Now the reality is you still have to go into each one, watch each one, find out that, oh, it should be a second more here or a second less here, and then cut out some extra words that doesn't seem quite right, and just do more post-production.
It's almost like you're describing a human in the loop, almost.
Almost, yeah, almost. And essentially, you would take that extra time to really refine the video, and then you would share it off. Now, do I think they save a significant amount of time from manual? Yes. Do I think that you still have to spend a lot of time? It's not exactly where we want it. Most definitely, it does need more work on it to get to the level of the expectation, or at least what's advertised. So,
what would you say, Jyunmi? Because you answered the question I was just going to follow up with, which is just ballpark. Because you do this for us for the show, but I know you also have a lot of video editing experience in the past. So, how much time do you think it actually saves you? If you just had to ballpark it, is it 50%? Are you literally spending 50% less time than you would have 3 years ago on a similar project?
Yes. Because one of the big advantages is the auto recognizing of the text in the video, the speech, and converting it to text, and applying various types of caption templates and video reframing. So being able to reframe to 9:16 as opposed to 16:9, adjust where that framing is going to be in your video, things like that. And then, of course, just cutting it up and picking out the sound bites that you want, right? Or the clips that you want. All of that does save a significant amount of time. Should it be faster? Save me more time? Yes, of course. But, I might expect too much of it right now. I would say the biggest downfall, and this might just be a cost of doing business for these software, is they charge you based upon your upload hours. So if you're like us, who do a 35-minute show every day, that is a lot of upload or processing video. If you do one show a month, it's probably not bad for you at all. And you buy it by chunks of minutes and things like that. But
I want to point out that one of the obvious and advantageous additions that AI provides to editing video is, like, you start with a video, it has an audio track and the visuals. And when you're an editor, you're trying to figure out, okay, well, I want to take this clip here and I want to, take this part out. And what the AI tools like Descript do is they first do a transcript into text, give you that text, and then you just edit the text. If it says, for example, there's an automatic tool in there where it sees in the transcript or any of these other things, you can just click one button and say, take out all those ums. Mm-hmm. Or you can take your cursor and delete a certain phrase. And what the video editor then does is it actually smoothly blends whatever the excision was, like from the cut point to back insertion point. It smoothly generates the video transition so that it's smooth and doesn't look like a really hacked cut.
Join us on Friday when we'll be talking about Descript, which does this.
I do want to do a little bit of pushback on that last bit. Yes, it does try to give you the smoothest transition, but for all of the video editors out there and people who are looking into it does. Tools like Descript and frankly, every single video editor system that I've seen out there now adds text edit by text or text edit, including big ones like Adobe Premiere and things like that. But you need to be aware that this is in a time of what is visually acceptable, right? If you are like a film or television show editor or whatnot, these are not for you. All right. And you will not expect that same kind of thing. There is no true narrative editing for this. This is strictly for like TikTok videos, YouTube,
Yes.
social media posts, marketing posts, maybe even educational content and things like that. This is not narrative or storytelling editing. I just wanted to be clear on that one.
I know that there's a scale.
Yeah.
Quality. And a full-length feature production is not going to use text editing.
But by the way, there probably is some $100,000 software solution subscription model for these higher ends, but that's obviously not what we're talking about here. This is for fast content, like you're saying, Jimmy. I think that's worth mentioning. Which, by the way, every single modern business needs this. This is important to be able to turn this stuff around fast. Our whole model of our show is more about being fast than being perfect. To the pain of Jyunmi sometimes, who does really, really good work. But we really do prioritize fast and turning around content than we do making a perfect edit, because there's always one more paintbrush. There's always one more little touch up. There's always, and that stuff can be, I've been there. It's maddening and it can take forever and ever. So we've always sort of prioritized, but prided ourselves in being more like a morning talk show that you would find on our old school radio, where it's just like we're just having conversations turning, because the alternative is to highly edit all of this, and that seems mind-numbing and like extremely expensive to do. So that's why we don't. That's why we're at the level we're at on here. Okay, we only got a couple more minutes on here. Aaron, I was going to jump to you. Go for it.
Yeah, one thing I'll say about that, and Descript and tools similar to it, what it does is it makes basic video editing something anybody can do. So you can no longer say, now I'm not talking about editing, as Jimmy said, a film or a TV show, but if you've got face to camera and talking, anybody can do basic editing using those kind of tools now. So that, I think, is a powerful, like it's my primary video editor now, as far as that goes. So
it was making me think earlier when Robert said about, you're not going to be able to better with a camera. I was thinking you could give me Tiger Woods, golf clubs, and golf balls, and I would be exactly the same golfer I am today, which is to say, not a golfer. So, the tool will only get you so far, despite the fact that they want to sell you on the better stuff. So these are great tools for, like you were saying, Aaron, for like anybody who can jump in and feel like, hey, you know what? I'd like to be able to do this a little faster, and I've never really had the confidence to try before. Oh, AI now is making things a little bit easier for those of us that maybe don't have the inherent talent or aren't just natural artists or whatever the case is. It's certainly helping with that kind of stuff. Do we want to talk at all about, I mean, it's up to you guys what you can do, but like, do we want to touch on, hey, Jen, I know Aaron, you said you had maybe a little stats on that or something?
Yeah, I'll try and power through it in 1 or 2 minutes if you like.
Yeah, please.
Awesome.
And then we'll wrap it up.
So for those of you who don't know, HeyGen is, to me, is the big revolution when it comes to video. What it does is allows you to record a 2-minute training video of you standing in front of camera, and then it clones you so that you no longer ever have to get on a camera again and do video live to camera if you don't want. And that's ideal for people who either A, don't know how to edit, B, don't have time, C, probably the big one for me is camera shyness, or people who just hate being on camera. And if I had $1 for everyone who said, I don't like being on camera, I would be a very rich man. So HeyGen is a fantastic tool for that. It's very cost effective, starts at $29 a month US. And you can start with 3 clones to get started. I call them AI clones, they call them AI avatars. It really doesn't matter. The beauty of it is you can either, if you clone your voice, you can just put a written script in, a text script, and it will do AI text to voice, and you've got your voiceover and your person's mouth moving and looking that up. Or what I do is I record my voiceovers with my own voice, because AI voice conversions doesn't really handle non-American accents that well at the moment. And then the major competitor to that is a company called Synthesia, which is actually the first company with this technology I found. I think they came out before HeyGen did. Probably the similar capabilities. The big differences are, and pricing-wise is somewhat similar. There's a couple of big differences. Synthesia only gives you one webcam level video clone for your account for a year, and if you want more, you got to pay them. Or you're going to go to the enterprise account, which is well over $100 a month. Also, I made a few notes here. It's only 720p resolution. I think HeyGen's entry-level one is the same. There's no voice cloning in Synthesia unless you are willing to sign up for the enterprise account, whereas HM will give you a basic voice clone service to start with, or you can pay for a better one if you want. And it takes 5 to 10 business days to create an avatar or a clone in Synthesia. So it has some cool things, like it's good for doing script editing with teams and that kind of stuff. If I was just getting started and wanted to do face-to-camera stuff, like marketing videos or training and education videos, I still think HN is much better your bang for buck. And that's what I would recommend. But hey, look, the day Synthesia becomes a better product, I'll switch. That works.
Yeah.
So,
No loyalty, right? Yeah, I agree. I think my opinion is HN is the best right now.
I just want the best product, really. So they each have their weaknesses, they each have their strengths. But overall, I still would say to people, look, if you want to do that kind of stuff, go to HN. You'd be better off with it at this point.
All right, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks to everybody on all the insights on this. Hopefully this is helpful to our audience. I know it can get confusing real quick with all these new tools coming out all the time. You go, I don't even know what you could do with AI with video. So hopefully this show helps you out. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about tourism in the age of AI. Talking about how AI is really starting to play a major factor there in terms of planning out your whole trip to somewhere, and then going past that, going into agents, and what is that going to look like? Not a real like a tourist agent, but like literally agents and AI, and how that will help people not only plan their trips, but also help them pay for it and all those kind of things. And what does that do to things like the cruise director? And what does that do to things like Google Maps and how we use that and how that interacts? So that'll all be tomorrow. Wednesday we'll talk about the news. Thursday we're going to be talking about how AI solves the blank page problem, which is a really interesting topic. And Friday, we will have our Descript review. So we'll do our honest review. We do this every other Friday where we pick a tool. What's that?
Andy's already done Descript, so we might as well put something new on Friday.
No, definitely come back to the show on Friday.
I'm happy to talk about Descript, though.
No, I'm looking forward to it. We're all going to be playing around with it on our own this week, and we'll give our honest review as we always have. We've done this with several tools now, and tools that we initially did, like Perplexity, where honestly I say this all the time, I came into the show kind of on the fence. Now Perplexity is one of my absolute favorite tools, and it was because of Andy and other people on the show who are like, you really should look at it, and I did, and now I can't stop using it. So these are just as helpful for us as they are anybody else. Okay, that's it. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Come back and hang out with us all week. Until then, bye.
Arrivederci.